Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get this kicked off. Got a great call lined up for you this morning. Some fantastic information, a special guest that I'm going to bring on here momentarily, and got some great information to share with you. But I'm going to hit the leaderboards first, and then we'll bring our special guest on. So, and a quick note, I know, guys, obviously this week with conference coming up, several of you are running today and this weekend, and so this number is obviously going to be everything that was turned in up through early this morning. So any additional business that you turn in will be highlighted next week, and really appreciate all the activity that you guys are putting in to have a big week going into conference. So that we will make sure we get those numbers acknowledged next week. So guys, we had two new writers this week. Shelly Burton was a new writer, and Stella Dinwiddie. So congratulations to both of you new writers. And on the leaderboards, we had Shelly Burton with one application, $380. We had John Gilliam, two applications, $1,156. We had Diane Newman, one application, $1,471. We had Stella Dinwiddie, three applications, $2,582. And again, new writer, Stella. So Stella and Shelly, congratulations on getting that business in. So we had Mr. Spencer Cushian, five applications, $3,945. And number two, John Paul Vetter, eight applications, $4,994. Great week so far, Mr. John Paul, and really like to see that app count, 8 applications. That's great. And the number one writing agent for the week is Miss Julia Pappas, 8 applications. Again, great app count. Great job, Julia. And $6,838. Julia on top of the leaderboards yet again. I think she was number one last week. So great job, Julia, for going out there and leading the team this week. So guys, we've had a very special guest on with us this morning, and Andrew Costas with Americo is joining us. And Americo is one of our core carriers, and really a neat company. And I really wanted to have Andrew on just to kind of talk a little bit about some of their products and how we can implement them into our sales cycle. And they've got some really neat things that they're doing on the technology side as well. And so I don't want to steal any of his thunder or any of the topics that he's going to talk about. But Andrew, I want to welcome you to the call. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Well, I've got you loud and clear. Yeah, welcome to the call. And this is my base shop call. Just so you know, we've got a lot of new folks tuning in for the first time, and they're just getting their contracting either recently approved or will be getting approved here shortly. And so I think this is a very perfect timing to have you on to talk a little bit about Americo and some of the products that you guys offer and how they can implement that into their business.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. And by the way, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you guys have a great Friday and great weekend leading up to conference next week. So just wanted to take a few minutes of your time and maybe introduce a little bit about Americo, about who we are, what we do, and then dive in just at a high level into a couple of the products. So for some of you who maybe aren't familiar, Americo is one of the largest privately held insurance companies in the United States. So we're located in Kansas City, so right in the heart of the Midwest. Been in the business a little over 100 years. So A-rated company, very financially strong company, owned by a family in Kansas City. And really one of the things that we think differentiates us from some of our competitors is the way that in which we go about doing business. And what I mean by that is that, when you talk about, as Chris was talking about, when you just even doing some sales today or some over the weekend leading up to conference coming up next week. So one of the things that we do a little bit differently is we put a lot of focus on e-applications. And we think that e-applications are the way of the future. And the reason we think that is that if you can get a client covered and approved instantly, and when we can put money in your bank account very quickly, we think that that's an ultimate win for everybody. Because you all do a fantastic job of doing the needs analysis, of sitting down with a client and understanding what their needs are and understanding what product would be a perfect fit for them. But the reality is that it's got to get issued. And you want it to get issued quickly, because what you don't want is you don't want a client calling you back 3 days later, and now you're calling the carrier, and the carrier's saying, hey, actually it's going to take another day or two, we're kind of behind. So what we do a little differently, again, through our e-application process, is on our whole life product, which is our Eagle Premier Series, we actually give you a 100% instant decision. So imagine if you're going out this weekend and you're going to write some business, you can get an instant decision right there in the home when you're talking with a client. So, and it's not a 70% instant decision, it's not an 80%, it's a 100% instant decision. And so again, when you're out there writing business and you're thinking about what's the best need for the client, or the best product, for the client, we think our Eagle Premier Series on the final expense or critical period coverage with the 100% instant decision is a great fit for your client. The second product that we talk about a lot is what we call our HMS series. So that's going to be our simplified term series. HMS stands for Home Mortgage Series. Again, pretty intuitive. One of the things I like to point out with ours that's a little bit different than maybe some other of the core carriers is we don't actually require the client to have a mortgage, and we don't ask for the mortgage information on our application. But again, simplified term, you're able to go in and write it for a 15-year, 20-year, 25-year, or 30-year. A couple of cool benefits that we think kind of stand out in the marketplace is, number one, the living benefits are built in at no additional cost. So when you think about living benefits, you're thinking about critical, chronic, and terminal illness. All three of those are built in at no additional cost. So you sit down with a client and you're talking to them about an HMS product, just know that those are going to be built in at no additional cost. And really the thing that we think differentiates us from a lot of other people, and when you're talking about adding as much value as you can to your client and fitting their needs, is we can add the cashback option to our HMS products. And sometimes you'll hear it referred to as return of premium, sometimes they call it cashback. But really what it does is it allows the client to get all of their money back at the end of the term. So when you're thinking about writing a term policy, just think about the sales concept very quickly. Imagine you sit down with a client and you write them an HMS product. And let's say it's a 30-year term, and at the end of, let's say, God forbid something happens anywhere in that 30 years, Americo's got their back because we're going to pay the claim. Or let's say, God forbid, they come down with a critical, chronic, or terminal illness. That policy covers it. We're going to be able to pay the claim. Or the best part about it is at the very end of it, if they've outlived the policy, we'll give them all their money back. So there's very few carriers out there that will allow you to add living benefits plus the cashback option together. A lot of times they'll allow you to do one or the other, which puts you in an interesting position when you're actually talking with clients, is you don't really want to have clients have to choose, between living benefits or the cashback option. And so we took that choice out of the equation and said, you know what, we want to be able to have the clients have both. So the great news about that is that also can be done on our e-application. So you can go into our e-app, you can write either our HMS series or our Eagle Premier Series. Both of them can be done with e-apps. Right now on our HMS series, about 70 to 75% of the time, you're going to get an instant decision. There's a few times where you won't. And the good news is if you don't get an instant decision, the likelihood of it being approved is very high because you've already passed prescription check and everything else. It just means that there's likely that there was a rider added to it, or there's just something that our system couldn't automate and make a determination right away for. So again, two great products. And there's just a whole bunch of different trainings available on Americo.com. And obviously I would love to do any WebExes or anything of the sort to help you guys out as well. But one of the things I did want to express is number one is a thank you. I know all the hard work that goes into it. I've been there of doing the needs analysis, getting in front of clients, setting the appointments, all of that. And I know how much work goes into that. And so from an Americo standpoint, we want to say thank you for the business. And again, we think that we provide great products and as importantly, great processes to allow you the opportunity to get business issued quickly, because ultimately that's what the client wants. The client wants the policy to be issued quickly. The great news about it too is that if it's sold before 3 o'clock Central Time, we actually mail the policy the same day. So imagine again, you're sitting in with a client, you're filling out an e-application process, and your client gets approved, and within 24 to 48 hours, they have a copy of their application. The great thing with that is a lot of times that helps with referrals, because anytime that you sell someone a policy, as soon as you walk out of the home, the first thing they do is they call somebody and they say, hey, I bought this policy. And the first thing out of that person's mouth is, cool, can I see it? What did you buy? And a lot of times they're able to explain at a high level what they purchased, but imagine within 48 hours them having a copy of the application right there in their hands, so that when a loved one comes over or something along those lines and says, you know what, wow, that's a great policy, I want one too. Again, that just helps you guys in a referral piece to be able to close more, get in front of more clients and close more business as well. So lots of great things going on. I will absolutely be at the conference. I'm flying out Monday morning, so if you're going to be there, I'd encourage you to stop by our booth, say hi. Would love to get to know you guys and figure out what we can do to continue to partner together and continue to grow together.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and I appreciate you sharing that. One thing I wanted to bring up, Andrew, and have you speak to just briefly, and you know, like any company, obviously, you know, we still have to do our homework on our end, make sure that, you know, the client that we're placing with you is going to fit the underwriting requirements. But one thing that impressed me is the sales desk that you guys have. You kind of just speak briefly about that process.
About the sales desk, you said?
Yeah, your sales desk, your support team that you have at the home office.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love to brag on those guys. They are absolutely phenomenal. So what we do a little bit differently maybe than some others, in the sense that we think the focus, we have a sales team that handles everything pre-sale. There's a lot of companies you call and you kind of get lumped into one big group, and that group can be anything from pre-sale to post-sale, the commissions, so you name it. We actually have what we call a sales support team, and their whole responsibility is to help you pre-sale. So imagine you're calling and you say, you know what, I want to know how Americo views a certain condition, or they can do some IT help with you on the e-application if you need help with that. They can help you run quotes. There's so many different things that they can do for you, and their whole job is to help you pre-sale. As a matter of fact, before I left the office the other day, one of the things I overheard a conversation, and I asked one of the members of our sales, I said, what was the gist of that conversation? And they said, you know, an agent had called in and they had forgotten their paperwork at the house as far as the quotes they had run and everything else. And our team reran all the quotes for them and shot them over an email, so they had it right there on their phone when they walked into the client's house. So it's just a small example, but again, just another way that, you know, we're a family-owned company, and at the end of the day, we can't sit there and say we're a family-owned company and then hope and not extend that same courtesy to all of the agents. So I'd strongly encourage you to use our sales support team. Please use myself as well. I would love to, again, help in any way I can, but we think those guys do a phenomenal job. And any feedback you have, positive or constructive, we love to hear it, because we know we're not perfect and we know we want to keep working on things. So if there's things that come up and you say, hey, you hit the mark on this one, or man, I really needed help with this, or I need help understanding this, please let us know. We're always willing to help tweak things and hopefully, you know, continue to get better.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And just, you know, on a side note, personally speaking, I have found Americo to be one of the most open communication companies. Obviously, you know, we have Andrew on the call here, you know, as our rep, but you know, they have been easy to talk with. And again, it's, as with anything, we've got to make sure we're putting the right business with them and finding the right fit. But when we do that, it's a good experience. So Andrew, I really appreciate you being on the call this morning.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. And again, look forward to seeing most of you, if not all of you, next week in Washington, D.C. And enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. So, well, great, awesome. Guys. So I'm going to move on to, yeah, great. Thanks, Andrew. We'll let you get on with your day, and I appreciate you taking time to pop in here. Very good. All right, guys, wanted to talk a little bit about this upcoming week, and just kind of talk a little bit about what's, you know, what to expect coming up to conference. And just kind of a quick heads up here. Any of you, you know, John, Paul, Spencer, Julia, who have been to conference before, well, let me go through some things here, and I may have you guys chime in on your thoughts on what new people can be looking for when they get to conference. So just kind of be mulling that over as I'm kind of going over and some things to think about for conference. And Laurie, if you could help when we get to that point with the muting and unmuting of lines. But before we get to that, just wanted to talk a couple things, guys, in preparation for next week. This event, gosh, it is so, we've been talking about it over and over again. And hey, for anybody that hasn't signed up, there's still time. I mean, until the conference actually starts, there's no reason why you can't pull things together last minute and get there. Such an impactful event. But and we'll do everything we can on our end to make that happen and to help you out. In fact, I got a text from Laurie this morning that we actually have an extra room that's popped up. So, if you were looking at traveling to conference and you're like, man, gosh, those rooms are expensive. I don't know if I could pull that together last minute. Hey, we actually have a room at the corporate rate available. And it is the best rate in the area for that immediate area. You might be able to find something further out, but by the time you pay Uber cost going in, or if you drive in paying parking fees, you'll save money actually staying there. So reach out to us if you have an interest in that. But guys, in preparation, a couple things, not a couple things, I've actually got quite a list of things I want to run through here real quick. Just some things to be thinking about to really get the most out of this event. And again, what we have coming out of conference, it's amazing. I went through the numbers, I think it was last week or the week before, just, some of the top leaders on this team, how their numbers increased dramatically. And I just highlighted them, but I see that pretty much across the board with anybody that goes to that event. If you just signed up, and we've had several people sign up just this week, for you folks, just a heads up, download the app. There's an app. You should get an email from corporate. If you have not got that email, let us know. We'll get you hooked up. And the reason why you need that app is everything is there. All the breakout sessions, there's actually a map of the venue itself. Everything that's been going on from a schedule standpoint is all on that app. So make sure that you have that app downloaded and and ready to go. Quick note about breakouts: if you have not signed up for a breakout session, do it now. Do it today, because those are filling up. I just popped on yesterday. A lot of them are already full. There's still some great ones available though, and so there's an opportunity for you to get in and really lock in some fantastic training. So to take advantage of that and get signed up for that. So one little tip that I discovered kind of quite accidentally, but the hotel we're staying at is actually a Marriott owned property, and Marriott has an app. It's called Bonvoy. It's some new marketing thing they're doing, but it's called Bonvoy app. But they actually have a check-in process. If you go to the corporate website, they actually have a link that kind of talks about, and when I say the corporate website, I mean the launch website that corporate put up. But they actually have a link there to instructions on how to sign up for the Bonvoy app and how to use that for express check-in. And I can tell you from personal experience from last September, check-in, that line is pretty long because we've got about 4,000 people coming in. And so that express check-in will save you a lot of time and headaches. So just a quick tip there, take advantage of that and use that getting in. You also, as soon as you get there and as soon as you get checked in, guys, you want to make sure that you get to the registration table and get registered for conference and pick up your materials, everything that you're going to need, your name badge, all the things that you're going to need for conference. And again, the app will have maps to the registration table. In fact, I believe corporate sent out some emails as well. But make sure you get that done as quickly as possible when you get there, because you want to make sure that little piece is out of the way, and you'll have everything that you need moving forward to really enjoy the event and get the impact that you need from it. There will be Monday night, the 15th, for those of you who are coming in on Monday, there is a reception. It's a general reception. Everybody is welcome. And so typically they have drinks available, and I can't remember, it seems like they even have a snack bar or something. But basically it's just more of an opportunity for everybody to get together and just kind of make connections. So One of the things that I'm going to be doing is pay attention to GroupMe, because we'll be communicating, especially like at that Monday night event. If we're meeting up at a particular section, we'll communicate that on GroupMe so everybody will see that, know where we can huddle up. Obviously a lot of us, especially those of you who are brand new to the team, we've talked a lot on the phone, but we haven't had a chance to meet in person. I'm really excited about meeting everybody who's brand new to the team and getting a chance to reconnect with all of our, all of our team from past meetings that's been here for a while. So do pay attention to GroupMe and everything that's going on there, and we'll be posting up anything that's happening there as well. Tuesday night, just a quick reminder, Tuesday night we have our team event. There's a restaurant about 2 blocks down from the hotel, and we're going to have a team event there starting at, I believe we've got it reserved from 9 o'clock until whenever. It is, and basically we have a run of the restaurant. I mean, they are keeping the restaurant open for us. And so our team and the Nolan team will be there. And so it'll be an opportunity again to really get a chance to have some time together, chat about the business, get to know each other. And guys, take advantage of this opportunity, especially at these team meetings. There's some veterans on this team that you have a chance to really sit down and talk with and ask how they do business. We've got our number one writer this week, Julia Pappas, who's been around this system for a couple of years now. We've got Spencer and John Paul. Jeremiah Nolan will be there. Matt Glass. From the Nolan team. So you've got some folks who run at a high level that you'll get a chance to really, connect with those folks, pick their brain, ask them questions. So, and I certainly, I tell people not only on our team, but the other teams within the company, as you look at the leaderboards, guys, make a wish list. People that you want to connect with and be ready with some questions. If you see them and get an opportunity, at the Monday night reception or maybe at the Wednesday night dinner, you see one of those folks walking around, one of those top 10 company performers that you want to, walk up to them and ask them some questions. You guys be ready to do that. Kind of have that list of people you want to talk to and pick their brain and be respectful of their time. Make sure you keep it short and get to your question and really take away some valuable information. One of the things that we always touch on, it's almost never an issue, but there's always one exception. There's always somebody that maybe enjoys the socializing maybe a little bit too much. So guys, one of the things that we want to make sure that everybody understands is this is a professional event. Make sure, if you're at any of the parties, especially where we've got some adult beverages available, just, be cognizant of, again, this is a professional event and this is an opportunity for everybody to connect up, have a good time. So yeah, we want you to enjoy yourself, have a good time. Just don't enjoy yourself to the point where you become obnoxious. I will put it that way. And to be a little bit more serious about it, if you do get to the point where you're a little bit beyond pleasant, then we have had people, unfortunately, in the past that's cost them their position with a company. So just if you're somebody that you've got a limit, and if you reach that limit, you've gone too far, then maybe police yourself a little bit early in the evening. Make sure you just don't get there. And that's enough about that. And everybody's big boys and girls, so I will leave it at that. What can you do to really get the most value out of this? Guys, make sure that you've got a notebook. And I recommend just buying and taking a clean notebook with you. I always just buy a brand new book, take it in with no writing on it. And, day one, as I sit down for conference, I write at the top. I'll be writing on the top of mine, 2019 conference, and April 2019 conference, to make sure that I'm keeping the records, because guys, you're going to be taking a ton of notes, and this is going to be, we make the joke, but it's true. You're drinking from a fire hose. I mean, you're going to have information upon information upon information that's going to be sent out to you through speakers, through our carriers, through breakout sessions. And number one, it's going to be too much information to really assimilate while you're there. I mean, you're going to be hearing it all, and you're going to pick up some things that it's going to hit you immediately. And you're going to be able to take it and put it in your business. But there's going to be a lot of things that you take notes on. You're like, man, that's really good. I like that. It's a good idea. But you're not going to remember it immediately. So that's why I like to have a clean notebook and just put down, hey, this is April 2019 conference. So when I get back, I'm flipping through those pages, and I'm marking those things that I heard, that I made note of, that didn't really sink in that first time I heard it. And so you guys, just really recommend that you invest heavily in this event. Now, when I say invest heavily, I'm not talking about monetarily. I'm talking about mentally. Make sure that you are plugging into everything that you possibly can. Again, watch the schedule and take advantage of everything that's happening there. Guys, one of the things that I wanted to do is real briefly just kind of bring on some of the veterans on the team and people who have been to conference before. And actually wanted to start this morning. If we have, Laura, you're going to have to help me out here, because again, I don't have visibility on what's going on here. But if we have Julia on the line, she's actually probably been, outside of myself, been to the most conferences on this call. And we'd like to have Julia pop on here and just kind of talk about, for anybody coming to conference the first time, what do you recommend to be looking out for? Or what are some of your thoughts around what's going to be happening this coming week?
Oh gosh, thank you for unmuting me, Lori, and asking me for some input for all of the new agents, Chris. The couple of things that I would highly recommend, look out for, like Chris said, make a wish list of those folks that you really want to talk to, whether it's the production side, whether it's the building side. Know that you have your questions in place. You'd be amazed if you can get 30 seconds with any one of those top folks in the company. It's going to be more than gold for you, for your business. I've talked with Danny Young. I've talked with Marlon Faulkner, have their numbers, and they're awesome guys. Just as an example, you can't get to wherever you're going by yourself. And I know Chris has had a hard time with me sometimes, but the truth of the matter is you need to be able to reach up to those folks, whether they're in your direct, immediate upline or within the company. Look for, you're not going to get a potty break. Okay, guys, girls, you're going to have to dart or go whenever you have possibly a brief moment, and you hope that you're not going to miss something good. One thing that I've always done, best practice for me, has been, as well as taking notes, I record every single keynote speaker. And yes, it eats up a lot of time or space on your phone or iPad, but it is so well worth it to go back, revisit it, because what you hear, what you write, what you read, and what you listen to again on your way back home is going to pay dividends to you. Whether you are aware of it or not at the time, it will. So lots of rest. Don't do a lot of drinking because, unless it's water, enjoy yourself, definitely. But first and foremost, this is business. It's not a vacation. It's not a party. So do what's best for you. Get your sleep when you can, because I tell you what, you're not going to get a lot. And eat healthy snacks when you can. If that means you bring what you can, do it. I know I'm bringing snacks for me and my husband. That's pretty much all I have. I mean, I don't know if I've missed anything, but those are my key takeaways from my experiences is bring some snacks that can travel with you on the aircraft, carry-ons or luggage if you're checking your bag. Record the conference as a whole on your phone. You'll want to take pictures or videos of keynote speakers because those are going to be powerful for you to use as tools, even with regards to recruiting and building your agency. So that's all I have. See y'all on Monday.
Perfect. Awesome. Can't wait to see you, Julia. So thanks for sharing that. Spencer, have you jump on here and just share kind of what's been, second to Julia, you've probably been the most conferences after Julia. What has been some of the things that have had the most impact for you coming out of these events?
Thanks, Chris, for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Got you loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, great. I would say what I've enjoyed the most is the note-taking. Is not so much on the spot as it is, months down the line where, you'll hit something in your business and you go back and you review your notes. So take good notes. Definitely in the breakout sessions on the second day, write, as much as you can, as you said on the call, Chris, you're adding to your business, instantly, but there's going to come times where you'll want to look back and see what, some of the key people said and maybe you're struggling in the field or what have you, and you're able to look back into your notes and see a key point or element that you wrote down based on, where you are in your business. So I would say take great notes. Like you said, get an extra notebook. I know the booklets that they do give you. My first year, I made the biggest mistake. I just wrote notes in that, and I was writing underneath people's names and notes because I ran out of space. And so, Julia said that she records everything. That's also a great tip as well. And so, but take great notes, I think, is the biggest advice that I can give, and enjoy meeting the people you've been hearing every week. I love it for the camaraderie, and of course we get edified and everything. Symmetry's launching, and you just I've been stressing so importantly, don't miss this. I mean, you almost get behind if you don't make this. You're playing catch up, for several months trying to catch the products that are coming out, what the carriers are launching. And so if there's any way, if we got new people on the call today, if there's any way that you can make this, move mountains and oceans to get there, because it's just so edifying to be a part of this. And as you said, Chris, the numbers don't lie. Businesses grow so much from just the fact of going to conference, doubling and tripling your business. So that's the best advice I can give, buddy.
Awesome. Appreciate your input on that. Yeah, that's great advice. Last but not least, Mr. John Paul Vetter, last conference, I believe, was his first one, but I distinctly remember him talking a little bit about what an impact, and he's been around the corporate world for a long time, and how much different this was. And John Paul, kind of speak to that. What did you see was different from this company? Is there anything that you can add to what Spencer and Julia has already talked about?
Sure. No, thank you. So you hear me okay, right?
Got you loud and clear.
Okay, perfect. So I mean, we've all been to corporate conferences and sales seminars and, that kind of thing, where it's a little bit, you feel like it's forced. You have to go, because, of your position in the organization, and there's some benefit to a certain degree when you go to those kinds of things, but nothing like this. I mean, this is a volunteer army. We're all here, on our own will, and it's just the energy and the atmosphere and the sense of connectivity, at conferences, unlike anything that I think most of us have experienced. And I'm sure other people have been to, different, rah-rah and sales seminars and stuff like that, and motivational speakers. This is a sum total of all that. directly related to what we're doing with symmetry, to the nth degree. And it's not just somebody just speaking in general terms. I mean, these are people who have tons of experience and success right here with what we're doing. So it's 100% applicable to what we're doing and what we want to do. So I would make that comment there specifically. But it's amazing. I mean, it truly is a fun time, but it is business while we're there. But I think you're going to come away from that saying, wow, I mean, this was incredible. So the one other things that I would add to that, to what's already been has already been shared is one, be attentive and focused the entire time you're there. Be open and receptive to what's coming at you from the stage, from the different speakers. And what I mean by that is, don't be distracted. Don't multitask. I mean, we all have things we have to attend to, but don't be on your phone on Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media. If that's the case, you're going to miss the boat. I promise you. Turn it off. Leave it alone for the time that you're there, because there's going to be something small that's said by someone from the stage that could be so tremendously impactful. That's exactly what your heart and your spirit needs to hear, that you can connect with, but you'll miss it if you don't stay focused on what's coming from the stage. There were so many times last conference that I felt as if the person from stage was talking directly to me, into my situation and my experience. And you're all going to have somebody on the stage. It's going to be different for all of us. But the point is, if you're distracted, you're multitasking and things like that, keep that to a minimum. Try to stay focused as much as you can, because it will be something that's tremendously impactful or beneficial to you that you could miss. And that's really all that I would add to what's already been said, Chris.
And that's a great point too, because the speakers that we have who will be speaking for stage, we do have a couple of hired speakers coming in, keynote speakers, if you will. But most of the by and large, most of the speakers are going to be other people within the company. And one of the things that's kind of amazing, and I think speaks to what this company, the emphasis they put in on personal development, is our speakers, and I've heard this from countless people, our people who are speaking from the stage, who are part of this company, quite frankly, are speaking in a way and saying things that they could easily go out and have a career in public speaking. They could be one of those paid motivational speakers. But you're getting that from somebody who is actually in the business, who has been where you're at. It doesn't matter if you're a day one agent and, kind of knees knocking together as you're making that first dial, or you're battling through the team building process, trying to find, those people who are going to step up and become winners, or you've got an agency that's going and growing, but you want to keep it going the right direction and growing faster. Those people have all been at every stage of this business. And so, that's a great point. You definitely want to take advantage of what you're hearing. And again, I'm looking forward to the two speakers that they've hired to come in. Looking at their bios, I think they're going to have some very impactful things to share. But I'm more excited about hearing again from our peers in the business and their journey and what they've learned through this process. Because I guarantee you, every one of them on the stage has dealt with every challenge possible in this business and surpassed it. So, guys, boy, I'm really excited to see everybody next week. Again, if you haven't signed up, we've been beating the drum hard, but there's a reason we do. There's no way, and all three of these folks that just spoke touched on it. There's no way that we can share with you the information that's going to come out of just these 2 days. He said we could train for the next 6 months and not be able to keep up or catch up to what you're going to get out of these 2 days. So that's why we make such an emphasis. So last minute, if you've been sitting on the fence, you're trying to decide if you want to go, just get there, and it will be, you will not regret that decision. I guarantee you. Guys, just kind of wrap up the call here. A couple of announcements, actually, maybe just, I do know one announcement I almost forgot. I'm kicking myself. You probably will be getting information on this, but Tuesday morning, 8:30, there will be a builders meeting. It's the Wayland hierarchy, Marshall Wayland hierarchy. For those of you who are brand new, Marshall is at the top of our family tree, so to speak. He's one of the originals in the company, and he's going to be holding a builders meeting at 8:30. It will be the Potomac Ballroom. It's kind of amazing. We're actually big enough. His hierarchy is big enough, and we've got enough people there that we're actually going to be holding our builders meeting, our team builders meeting, in the main room where we have the conference. That's how big it's gotten. So Potomac Ballroom, they'll have signs out, but that's going to be 8:30 Tuesday morning, the 16th. If you have an interest in building an agency, you all are invited and encouraged to attend that meeting. It's going to be a very highly impactful meeting. There are going to be some announcements coming out in that meeting. I was on a call yesterday. There are going to be some huge announcements coming out that are specific to our hierarchy. Some things that Marshall has been working on putting together just specifically for the benefit and the growth of our hierarchy. So if you have an interest in building an agency, don't miss that meeting. I will say you want to get there early because they basically, as I understand it, they have about 800 to 850 seats, and they've got about 1,000 people registered for conference. So you do the math. So I would get there early. Make sure that you, I would get there at least by 8, maybe between 7:30 and 8. But at the very latest, 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning, Potomac Ballroom, and be there for that meeting. And very impactful information from 8:30 to 10, I believe, or maybe 10:30. I don't remember. They will let out and give us a couple hours before the general session starts at midday. So do take advantage of that. Touching on, and this is something we're really going to start talking a lot more about after conference, that we do have our leaders retreat coming up in June 12th through the 14th. Keep that on your radar and be looking at attending that. Jacob Pogue, who is also at the top of our hierarchy, many of you have heard, is going to be at that meeting. And so, and that meeting is going to be a very intimate meeting, small room, opportunity to work one-on-one with Jacob. We're going to have Brian, who is a coach from Giant Worldwide, who is the company that Symmetry is partnered with, that does team coaching. So he will be there as well. Scott Mank, our regional agency director. So keep that on your radar. And like I said, after conference, we're really going to start talking a lot more about the agenda, what's going to be happening there, and the opportunities to get involved with that. So guys, thanks for everybody for being on. Hopefully you got some really valuable information. Take a look at Americo, what Andrew had to share. They're a great company. It takes, you got to make sure I keep reinforcing that you got to make sure it's the right fit for the client. But when it is, they're a really great company to work for. So, or work with rather. So make sure that you take advantage of that. Guys, have a great weekend. Let's power through the weekend, get some extra dialing in, get some extra appointments, make sure you're showing up to conference with that, like they say, the cash flow glow. Next week, next Friday, we're going to plan on having a call. Unless something happens, we're going to plan on having a call, and we'll get some more information out about that. But I really want to have a call coming out of conference and some of the things that we're going to be learning and bringing out of conference. We want to dig into while it's still fresh in our mind. So plan on next Friday. Let's have the team call. I'll be back where I can communicate, and hopefully by that time the internet service will be restored. I can jump on Zoom with you guys then. All right, guys. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at DC next week. Travel safe. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.